Automatic Garage back today, and we're going to show y'all how to put injector cups in a 7.3. All right, so by request, last night actually, someone on YouTube said, hey, do you have a video on injector cup installation? And I had to think about it for a minute because I think we have about 400 videos now, but we have not done one on showing putting injector cups in a 7.3. So we're going to go through that. We were actually in the middle of doing this job. We had tore this all down, had the injectors out, and today all I had left to do was pull the cups out and drive them all in with the Loctite on them, of course. But I'm going to show you how to do that real quick. So as you can see, we got 7 of the 8 out, and I left number 2 right here on the front. It's still right there in the bore. So we'll show pulling that one out. So what you're going to need for this is a quality injector cup removal and installation tool. This one that I've had for years is from Rosewood Diesel. It's really good, solid built. The driver's nice and heavy. Has the O-ring that holds the cup on here while you're installing the new one on. So when you have your Loctite on it, you can push it right down in there and it stays on the tool and doesn't fall off. It's a good tool. I never had it fail me. You're also going to need to make sure you have the Loctite 620 compound, because you have to put it on the cups when you put it in and let it cure. I usually try to let it sit for 24 hours before I expose it to any oil or coolant or fuel at that. So the way I do this to make the process go a little bit faster is I have one 3/8 ratchet set up with a 9/16 socket on it, and I have another 3/8 ratchet set up with a 15/16 socket. The 9/16 fits the stud right here that you screw into the cup, which is what pulls it out, and the 15/16 is what fits the nut that tightens this nut down onto here. This is what keeps you centered on your bore here, this piece right there, and that tightens it down into the cup. And as you do that, it's going to pull the cup out. And before I get any further in this, I have several videos on doing injectors and one specific video on just nothing but injector removal and installation on a 7.3. So if you want to check that out, go check on our page there and find that video to show you how to get down to this point, and this will just pick up with doing the cups here. So now an important step to do before you even start removing your cups is you want to make sure you have all your coolant drained. So your cups are surrounded by coolant right here in this area. So if you don't drain your coolant, what you're going to do is fill your first cylinder up all with coolant when you pull that out. And you'll just be having to evacuate more. It won't be the end of the world, but I'd prefer you not to do that. So I wish I had not drained the coolant before I started this video, but the symptom we had was we had your normal coolant looking right here with nothing in it. And on the top, you had this haze, a light brown haze sitting on the top. And it was just like a film all on top of the coolant. So if you stuck your finger in there, it wasn't oily. It was kind of slimy feeling. Not like oil would be in the coolant, like an oil cooler. But that's what you're looking for with that, with a bad injector cup. So what you want to do before you even put the tool in there is take you a penny and just drop it down in the cup and have it sitting right over the hole down in there. Let me show you. It's sitting right down in the hole where the injector tip goes through. That's going to keep any of these shavings from falling down into your cylinder. All right, you want to make sure you have your nut right here backed off far enough before you even stick this down in here. So you're just going to stick it down in the hole. You're going to get the little washer at the top that lines up with the injector bore there, seated in there. And as you can see, you can't even begin to turn it with your hand because it's already grabs that quick. Take your 9/16 socket. Let me turn the ratchet around here. You don't want to go too much. You just want to go till you feel a good amount of resistance. I think they typically say about a turn and a half. And that's pretty good resistance there. You can run your nut down. Take your 15/16 socket. Trying to keep my hand out of y'all's way. And as soon as you feel no resistance, you got the cup pulled out already then. We're getting close. There it is. All right, when I get this off, I'll be able to show y'all why we put that penny down inside of the cup here to keep stuff from going out in the cylinder, because you'll see how much stuff there is. All right, so there's the shavings you see down in there sitting on top of the penny. There's all the others we've dumped right here on this glove while we did it. And that keeps that from going down in your cylinder. So I cleaned this cup up so hopefully you can see it better. I don't know if it's gonna show up on the camera or not, if it will focus. But there's a crack right there above my glove. They're really hard to see sometimes. Hopefully you can see it with the glare right there. They're usually right here in this area of the cup, and they're almost always gonna run top to bottom. I've never seen one not run top to bottom with the cup, but that's typically the crack you're looking for. So if you're just doing injectors in your truck, you don't think you have a cracked injector cup, but you would like to check, the best way to check is to pressure test your coolant system. Put a pressure tester on here, pump it up to like 20 pounds, and if you have time, just leave it overnight with your injectors pulling. And if you have a crack, you're gonna see a little drip of coolant that's coming out of that injector cup in the well there. And that's the easiest way to check if you wanna make sure they're in good shape while you're replacing some injectors or you're not sure or whatever. That's a good way to check, and it will spot a crack, because looking down in there, you're probably not gonna see it unless it's really an over-exaggerated crack. All right, so the next step after you have your cup out, my first step that I do is I go on every bore and I just blast it with some brake cleaner. That's the first step I do. After you've brake cleaned your bores, these are your two brushes that you need here. You can get these at Full Force Diesel also. And the first one I do, I take this brush and run it down here in the bore. You're gonna feel the tip of this brush go down where the injector tip goes through, and just kind of give it some downward pressure and twist it around. And I run it around a little bit off center to make sure I'm getting all the walls of where that cup contacts, because what you wanna make sure of is that you have no more of the Loctite residue left in there before you put a new cup in. So I'll do that one, run around and do that on every single one. And you do this one. And what this one does is where the face of the cup sits down there in the head, this brush goes down there and cleans that portion really well. So take that brush, make sure it's seated down there in the bottom. You'll feel it slide through that last smaller portion. I just go around and go back and forth and make sure that's all cleaned out really good. And then I'll blast it with brake cleaner again. Then I'll take my compressed air and blast in every single one of them. And once you do that, I'll go with a light and I will look down in there. Let me zoom y'all in. I'll look down in there and make sure focus. Make sure that it's really nice and clean down in the bore, which is what you want. The key is cleanliness. Make sure there's no debris in there, and you want no oil or coolant or anything else on any of those surfaces, because you want that Loctite to do its job and seal that cup up in that bore there and hold it in place. So this is called the Ultimate Injector Installation Kit. Full Force sells this. We buy this with every single set of injectors that we put in. It comes with your Motorcraft filter, it comes with your Alliant Power valve cover gaskets, UVCH right there under valve cover harness. This is Alliant Power injector cups. I got another bottle of the Loctite because I'm starting to run low on it. I also got him a new fuel filter cap. That's not normally in the kit because he's got some off-brand cap on there. What else is in here? That's all of your glow plugs. And we got brand new Full Force Diesel Reman stock flow injectors coming. And this is a new tool I got. So usually when I do injectors, if y'all have watched the video of me doing 7.3 injectors, I typically install the injectors and have the glow plugs removed. I set the valve covers on and I spin the motor over and I let the motor, each cylinder, just shoot out whatever oil or brake cleaner or anything else that's in the cylinder out, because you can't leave that in there because you'll hydrolock the motor and crack a piston or break rings or bend a rod or something like that. But this is an extractor tool that they make and sell. And I told them to go on and send me one this time because I want to give it a shot. and see how it works, see if it saves me any time or not, or if my method is good for doing it. I want to say it's like 30 bucks, something like that, on their website. So maybe something you want to buy. It comes with these two hoses also, and you'll go through the glow plug hole to suck all the stuff that's out in the cylinder. But I did want to show you all this tool because I know some people are probably watching the video saying, well, where's all that brake cleaner going? What about the residual coolant that dropped in the cylinder, anything like that? Well, it's all going to get sucked out with this, and this is getting an oil change just like always when I do injectors and stuff anyways. So anything that did by chance seep past the rings is going to get, we're going to give it a good long drain on the oil change, and this is going to suck the majority out of the cylinder there right here. Or if it doesn't, then we're going to do it the old school way that I always do it. All right, so this is just something that I like to do. So I got our first cup on our installer tool right here, and I'm going to wipe the cup down with some brake cleaner, and I'm going to blow this off with compressed air again just to make sure we don't have any lint or something from a paper towel on the cup, because you don't know what someone may have touched this with packaging, got some oil on it or something like that. Clean, dry, oil-free, everything surface is what matters so much with this Loctite. So we've wiped that down, so I'm gonna blow this with compressed air again. Now we're gonna apply our Loctite 620, and what you're applying to is this lower bevel right down here and this round portion right here at the top. It's the two flat surfaces up here at the top and right there at the bottom. That's the other reason to have it on the tool. It's easier to just do a nice continuous bead holding it on the tool here. Just want to make sure you got good coverage on it. All right, now you don't have to have some big dyna-whopping hammer to do this. That little one does just fine. You're just gonna try to go down nice and easy and not wipe any of that off. Get it down in the bore there. You're gonna take your hammer, and what you're gonna do is tap, and you're gonna hear an audible change in the sound when you're tapping it down in there of when it bottoms all the way out. You can tell you're metal on metal now right there. After you have it all the way down in, I'll take another clean paper towel. I'm just gonna wipe the bore above the cup, because just like me, you'll probably get just a tiny bit of the Loctite on the bore. And you don't want anything in there that's gonna mess up your injector O-rings or clog anything up, get in your fuel system, anything like that. And there's your brand new cup down in the bore, and you can see just a tiny bit of green right there around the lip of the cup. That won't matter there. So now what I like to do is let this sit overnight before I do anything else and let that stuff set up. All right, so we're on our last injector cup, and I can't get the bottom of it totally dry and clean because that cylinder is at top dead center, and between the oil that drained from the injector and spraying down with brake cleaner, it's right there at the bottom of the injector cup well there. So every time I spray it or blow some compressed air in there, it's just kind of blowing stuff back out, making a mess. So we're trying this extractor out. I've already pulled it one time and got some oil out and squirted it. I don't know if I'm gonna get any more out now or not, but I thought I'd show you. I'm not overly impressed with it because it's really hard to get it's almost like vacuum line hose to fit down through the injector hole. And it's not small enough to go through the glow plug hole. So, I don't know, we'll try it here, see what happens. I guess I got all of it the first time. There's a little bit in there, not a lot. All right, we're all put back together. All 8 are in. They're gonna sit overnight, and our full force injectors should be here in the morning. And then we can put this back together and have this problem solved with this. It did have, what was going on with this truck, he didn't even know about the stuff in his coolant. He came here because it was running rough. We had a 7 and 8 contribution code on it. I noticed the stuff in the coolant tank and said, yeah, you got a bad injector on each side. Might as well do all of them. And since we're doing those 2, we might as well do all 8 injector cups too. While you're here, why not? If you're gonna go to the trouble to do that. So that's what we're doing here. I think this truck has 380,000 miles on it. So who knows if they've ever been done or not before, but I'm sure it's gonna run excellent after we do all this. So I hope y'all enjoyed the video on showing how to do these injector cups on a 7.3. It's really not that difficult of a job. Just take your time, and the key is clean, clean, clean. Make sure there's no other Loctite residue left in there from the old cups. Make sure you're oil-free, fuel-free, lint-free, all that good stuff, and drive them in there with the driver and let them sit. Don't get in a hurry. I wouldn't by any means throw the injectors right in after doing this and run the truck. I would let that stuff set up. So anyways, hope this helped y'all out. Go check out other videos on the channel here. A whole lot of 7.3, 6.0, 6.7 Cummins, Ford stuff, content on this channel. We appreciate y'all's support. Check us out, automedicgarage.com. Got some merch on there. If you want to help support this channel, or we've helped you fix your truck and you want to contribute, go visit our Patreon and consider being a member of that. We'd appreciate that. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Also, it's Auto Medic Garage signing out. We'll holler at y'all later.